Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Just Gaming Tingz Podcast, where we bring the all queer perspective on video games, gaming news, and nerdy stuff every Saturday live on twitch.tv/Just Gaming Tingz at 1 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and later on in the day on YouTube and your favorite podcast services. My name is Coco Jangles, and we have Chalora back with us today. Hey!
Yes!
Yay! Welcome back, Laura.
Welcome back, Shalora. How was your break?
Yeah, how was your break?
I didn't take a break yet.
It was okay. I just did nothing.
That's exactly
I
what
love
you
that for you, though.
deserve. You are so busy.
Yeah.
Goodness. All right, and then we also have Project Ruby.
Oh, hey, I'm here and I haven't taken a break yet.
Take one.
Okay.
Do
And then
it.
we also have Spin.
Hello. I took an accidental break because my neck exploded. So there's that.
Oh, wow. We also have Koga. Hi.
Hello.
Did you take a break?
Nope, no breaks here.
Not yet.
We're being too
Nope.
much.
Listen.
Too much on this day already.
Too much for me.
It's fine. It's Saturday. We're just having a good time, you know? They get it. They get it. They understand.
Understand those.
Shall we get started with our just headline teams, our first segment of the day?
I'm going to get us into our first story. Bethesda and Lucasfilm tease a new Indiana Jones video game.
Ooh.
We have a little excerpt from Ars Technica. Bethesda will be publishing a new Indiana Jones game with an original story in collaboration with Wolfenstein: The New Order developers Machine Games, the publisher announced on Twitter. Bethesda said it will be some time before details are available. For the time being, the company shared a 30-second teaser video featuring the opening notes of John Williams' Raiders March and a ticking clock over a pan over a cluttered desk. The teaser culminates with an unseen hand picking up Indiana Jones' trademark hat to reveal a coiled whip. So, this is a big deal because literally the last Indiana Jones game was 10 years ago, and it was Lego Indiana Jones 2.
Mm.
Oh, okay.
Well,
So that's a Lego game.
maybe it's for the best. I'm just kidding. I've never seen Indiana Jones, so
Really?
Mhm.
Okay.
I haven't seen
So there-
anything,
there-
so it's fine.
Right.
Don't worry, I haven't either. Surprisingly, I just never got around to the series.
Really?
Yeah.
So there hasn't been an Indiana Jones game for a really, really long time. So people are excited about this. I am people. I'm excited for an Indiana Jones game that's not necessarily like a Lego Indiana Jones, because while I did enjoy Lego Indiana Jones, it's gonna be cool to have like, I'm thinking like action adventure kind of situation, kind of like a Tomb Raider-y, Uncharted-y kind of moment.
Yeah. That would make the most sense, I feel.
Yeah. What do you think, Ruby? What are you thinking?
I don't think. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think of him. No. I'm curious. Bethesda has kind of an up and down journey with their games. Like sometimes they come out and they're like, wow, and sometimes they come out and they're like, wow. So I'm just very I'm not necessarily optimistic, but I'm also not like negative about it. I'm just like, okay, I'll wait until it comes out and I'll see what the deal is with it. Because we also don't really know when it's really coming out yet or anything of the sort. So, yeah, maybe I'll take the time to get into the Indiana Jones series, like the movie series, and maybe I'll watch it leading up to the release of this game. And then we'll see. But yeah, I'm not necessarily like, I feel like we've already had that kind of niche filled with Tomb Raider and Uncharted. Like I feel like we've always had those kinds of games come out. Like I feel like we never ran out of a game in that genre. So I don't necessarily think it's gonna fill a niche that the gaming industry is missing, but I also am like, okay, sure, why not? What about you, Koga?
I'm kind of, I guess, in the middle. I mean, it's interesting because yeah, Bethesda definitely has their ups and downs. I guess the thing that will probably get me to try that, with it being, Bethesda part of it, will it be on Xbox Game Pass? Because if it is, I'll probably give it a shot, maybe.
Yeah.
But it definitely seemed like it would probably, I guess, be something like Tomb Raider-ish. But I don't have much expectations. But if it's on Game Pass, I'll probably get around to it if I am not like completely just swimming in a bunch of other games to play at the time.
Yeah.
That could happen. Well, you, Chaloy, you're excited, or you just in the middle?
I can imagine a lot of people are jonesing for a new Indiana Jones game.
This is what we missed about you being gone. Nobody can
I'm so glad you're back.
in the pun in the pun department.
I feel like they probably had this idea, and then like Tomb Raider came out from Square Enix, and they were like, well, damn. Like we missed that shot. And then like Tomb Raider has been coming out almost every year, every 2 years or so.
Yeah.
So they probably were just like, well, let's put this on the back burner, sort of thing. But I don't know. Like, I do worry that it'll be too much like Tomb Raider and Uncharted and what's that other game? There's someone else.
There is.
Nathan Drake is in Uncharted, right?
Yeah, he's
Uncharted.
I was gonna say he's Uncharted. Yep.
He is the Uncharted.
I'd like to chart his territory, but
well, I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no if given the opportunity.
I do feel like it's just sort of been a very overdone area.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how they're going to make it different, and I really hope that they don't make it some sort of like open world, sort of like here's like a bunch of tombs in a big open world, and then you can go back to the city and like research your artifacts or something, which could be cool, but I imagine Bethesda could really screw that up. So
I agree. I think it would be better if it was more linear.
I think whatever they do, it should be more simple so that they can easy mode for themselves.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you try to be too like not greedy is not the word that I'm trying to get at. Too ambitious. Yeah. It can be really bad because obviously if you take inspiration from something that's cinematic, there's like a beginning, middle, and end to it. And if you make it too open world, I feel like there's potential for you to just go back to the same tombs all over again. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I have a side quest on this tomb again, and then I have to go to tomb number 2, and then oh, guess what? I have to go to number 1 again, and then it just becomes like too repetitive. And it's like, sure, I have a lot to do, and it's an open area, and there's too much to do, but at the same time, it's like there's way too much to do, and it can be overwhelming, and it can be too much. And I feel like there are so many open world games already that it's like I actually don't mind a more linear experience that is more of like a concise story from again beginning, middle, end, and everything makes sense and you wrap it up, and it's like there's no pressure for you to play this game for like 200 hours. You know what I mean? Like just give me a game that I can pick up like for a few hours every other day. I pick it up, and then by the end of the month, or even before the end of the month, I'm done with it, and I'm like, that was really nice, Mm-hmm. So
I think if it is linear, though, they should make sure that the story is really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna have to hit that one because you don't want the game, because we don't know how the gameplay is gonna be. So hopefully it's not too similar to like Tomb Raider, but the story is gonna definitely have to be something to stand out, because you don't want it to be like the Fast and the Furious where they had a great idea but Need for Speed beat them to the punch.
While we're talking about the story, I wanted to kind of get y'all's opinions on what we think they're going to do for the story, because with Indiana Jones, there's like the original 3 movies, and then they did a 4th one much later, and I think they're working on a 5th one also. So I don't know like what what we're thinking like they could do for the story. Because I was kind of thinking like, what if they do something in between, in that time gap, like between the original trilogy and Crystal Skull. Like that would be interesting. I know like a lot of us haven't watched the actual series.
Yeah. I think it could be cute if they went with a completely original story, because I don't know if they're gonna have I don't know if they're gonna have the rights to replicate. I'm afraid that if they try to make it too similar, it's just gonna look like a bootleg, kind of what they try to do with Marvel's Avengers. And I know it was a different company. Ironically enough, it was Crystal Dynamics, which is responsible for Tomb Raider. So it's kind of funny that I just did that comparison. But I think it needs to be something completely unique, because if it's someone that looks kind of like the main character of Indiana Jones but is not really the main character, and the story is kind of similar, it's just people are just gonna roast it and be like, oh, this is a bootleg. So I think it would be really cool if they went with I don't know, like either something just very unique, or maybe even a great cast of characters, and you can maybe play as different people or something like that. Like, I don't know, I think it could be really cool if they maybe if you could customize your own Indiana Jones, so you could be any gender, any race, any height, any weight, you know what I mean? Like you could be yourself as the Indiana Jones. And I think that could be really cool.
Yeah. That would be cool to have like the different characters in there, because there's a lot of different characters you could put in an Indiana Jones game. So that would be really interesting to have, or at least have like sections where you could play different characters doing different stuff. What were you gonna say, Koga?
I guess if they wanted to keep it to where you played as, Indiana Jones, they could maybe do, a prequel. That would be good, I guess, for people who don't watch the movie, so they're not like completely left out. Then it could be something there for people who are familiar with it, and maybe a few Easter eggs for them and whatnot. I mean, it's pretty safe, but I mean, it could potentially work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question for us.
What's your question?
So we're looking at a very like classic franchise turned into a video game. If you could, what movie/TV show franchise would you want to either return? Because I feel like a lot of games were already made like in the late 90s, early 2000s. There was a lot of like licensed material, but if we could in 2021, maybe this year, like as an announcement, maybe not coming out this year, but as an announcement, something that you would be like, ooh, that would be really cool if that movie or if that TV show or whatever was turned into a video game. Is there such a thing for y'all?
Okay. My first thought was Buffy. Because of course. Buffy, give me a Buffy game. You play as all the girlies. You fight vampires. They could do it in really like any kind of area of the series, because like you could be in high school, you could be in college, it could be after the series. It could be like a prequel. It could be based on the movie Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So like there's really a lot of different areas you could go with that. I think that would be cool.
Ooh, I love that.
What do you think of?
It's funny because I threw the question out and I didn't really think of anything. Like, I don't want to repeat myself too much, but like I would die if a Sailor Moon game came out. But we already know that it's me on my bullshit again. If it wasn't like an anime sort of situation and it was more of a TV show, I don't know. I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head because I feel like a lot of stuff was already kind of done already, really.
Yeah, that's why I'm having a hard time. So I'm like, almost anything that I would have watched had like a video game at that time, because it was the 90s, so it was like it was the perfect time to capitalize on it. So if something was popular, video game. It might not have been great, but it's there.
Yeah,
So
but
I don't know.
or maybe like a game that they already made, but you feel like they could have done a better job with it these days.
That opens up a lot.
It
Yeah.
does.
Because like Indiana Jones is obviously like it's not the first Indiana Jones game that's coming out, so I kind of like that idea of like a game that maybe already existed before, but someone else gets the rights to it, and they're like, "Ooh, let me make a Power Rangers one.
Yeah.
That would be
could be good.
cool.
Make a
Yeah.
good Power Rangers video game."
And it could be multiplayer.
Well, they kind of
Yes.
had. There's actually one out, but it's a fighting game. So if you're not into
Oh,
that, you're probably not gonna care
no,
for it.
Give me like you know what? Like a game that plays kind of like Bayonetta or like Devil May Cry, just like beat 'em up / shoot 'em up kind of situation, and you could get like 3 or 4 of your friends, either local.
Take out a whole bunch of putties.
Yeah, either local multiplayer or like online multiplayer, a good co-op situation, or even with AI. I love a game where you play through a campaign, but you can play it with your friends, and you all experience the story, and like each of your friend can be like a different Power Ranger. And I think it could be cool because I remember back in the day they had a game that was supposed to be like an anniversary sort of situation, and they had like Power Rangers from different seasons come by and like do different things. So I think it could be really cool if they did like an anniversary kind of situation where maybe you played bits and pieces from different seasons of Power Rangers, or like the most iconic seasons, or whatever it could be, or even just an original story, because I think they're working on another reboot of like the series for like a movie or something. They already did one, and I think they're doing another one because the other reboot didn't do so well. So if they had a video game tie-in that was really good, I would be down for that.
It would be a cute moment.
Yeah.
I was just thinking like I don't know why, but like Nailed It. Like the Netflix series.
Oh, like the is it the cooking show?
Yeah.
That would be
But like everybody's
cute.
bad at baking, right? So like you would have you could play it solo, but like it would be competitive, but like sabotage. So like you'd be doing your thing,
Ooh.
and like maybe someone could, like if they weren't doing very well, like let's say whoever has the most points they have like no powers until they go below, and then the people below get powers, and they can like press a button and your ingredient list turns off for like 5 minutes or
Oh
whatever.
my god.
or like
That
your
would
blender
be
goes
amazing.
crazy or whatever it is.
That would be amazing.
I think that'd be so funny.
That's a great idea, actually. I love that. I would play that.
Well, because like you could make clunky controls on purpose, like that.
Yeah. And also you could have like a Twitch integration thing, so chat could like sabotage or help. That would be so cool.
Little voice lines by Nicole Byer like every few minutes would be like super hilarious.
Yes. Oh my god. Netflix has
That
the
would actually
money.
be
Surely
iconic.
they could do so. They could hire someone to do it.
We'll see.
I want
love
this
that.
game.
Same.
I want this game now.
I love that. Oh my god.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Besides all that, Spin, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm gonna snap that right from you because we're gonna talk about the new Pokemon Snap game coming to Nintendo Switch in April. We have a little excerpt here from Polygon, written by Michael McWhirter. A new Pokemon Snap will be released April 30th, the sequel to the original Pokemon Snap released 1999 for Nintendo 64. The sequel, to the original Pokemon Snap. We'll send players to the Lentil region to snap photos of Pokemon in the wild. Speaking of food, Lentil region.
I know,
Working with
it's my
Professor
favorite.
here and assistant Rita on an ecological survey to photograph lentil Pokemon thriving in nature. Players will tour the islands in an on-rails vehicle known as the Neo 1 through various paths. Photos will be judged similarly to the original game, but Pokemon behavior changes over time, and players may see Pokemon behaving in entirely new ways. The game also teases a new phenomenon native to the Lentil region called Illumina, a mysterious glow that emits from some Pokemon. So I'm really excited for this game. I was a super huge fan of the original game. Even if I was already done with it, I would restart. I would just go over and over again. I don't know what Illumina means, but I did watch the trailer and it just looks like they glow or like maybe they get big. I'm not sure. Maybe there's like a bonding system with the Pokemon now, where like they become more familiar with you, which would be kind of cool.
Ooh.
What do you guys think?
I'm kind of interested in the new like Illumina thing. I like that because you know how like every Pokemon generation they've kind of been adding like a new thing that's like in that generation. Like Mega Evolving and Dynamaxing and all that stuff. I think that's a really cool thing to add to the side games too. Like to have exclusive things like features that are just in that game. I will say the name of the region is making me hungry, and I want a lentil loaf now. But I'm really excited. I didn't get to play the original Pokemon Snap because I never had an N64. But this one looks really exciting. And if you're watching on Twitch or on YouTube, we're playing a little preview of the trailer that was released. I think that I wish they hadn't called it New Pokemon Snap. I do wish that they had called it something besides just New Pokemon Snap.
Yeah.
What if they have another new one?
Right? Like, what if they did?
New
And then
Pokemon
that
Snap
Pokemon
too.
Yeah, it'll just
Newer
be newer Pokemon Snap, and then the third one will be newest Pokemon Snap.
Right?
Oh my
Oh my
god.
god.
Oh. I will
Yeah.
say I didn't have a Nintendo 64 growing up, so I'm considering this as like something that I could get for myself. It does seem like one of those Pokemon games that are pretty gimmicky to me. So I think it's one of those situations where like I feel like I would maybe get a little bored of it quickly because it does seem a little repetitive. So I'm not sure if I would just experience it through people just like watching Twitch streams or anything of the sort, or if I would get it myself. But it does look really good, and I think this is definitely something that Pokemon fans have been begging for, especially because of how much technology has evolved. I'm like, yeah, they can make them look so pretty, and you could build these beautiful environments and all that stuff. So I do think this is exciting news for Pokemon fans because it does seem like they're listening to the fans. So hopefully more Pokemon games moving forward will have more, like they will answer more of fans, not questions but requests, if you will. So yeah, that's basically all I have about Pokemon Snap because I didn't really play it growing up. So I'm kind of like, yay, I'm happy for the people because I know people are super excited about it. So I'm happy for them. The same way I was happy when Animal Crossing was announced. I was like, yay, I know a ton of people who are excited about this. I'm not a part of those people, but I'm excited for them.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
I would play it because I did play the Nintendo 64 and back, like, I don't know how long ago that was. Was it 98 or 99? It was
99.
It was a 99, yeah, long time ago. But it's right there in front of me. Release 99.
Reading,
I did
right?
enjoy. It's too early for reading. But I did enjoy playing it. I also liked how you certain things you would do with like change things. Like I think you like knocked Charmeleon into like a volcano, and then he would evolve
Yeah.
into a Charizard. And it's just you find out certain things you could do, and then you would like want to go back and do that. And I think it also opened up other areas, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So it had quite a bit of replay value, and you just had to like experiment with things and figure things out. So this one, I would definitely play it whenever the the Switch 4K or Pro, whatever they want to call it, comes out, and I get another one, I definitely will play this one again. I loved playing Pokemon Snap when it came out at the time.
Yeah.
I'm super excited about this.
I feel like you're saying, like the original game was super interactive in a lot of ways, and like there's a lot of like little events and like treats that they kind of hid in sort of puzzles or like interactions that you did based on the tools that they gave you. So I definitely feel like they're gonna like enhance that like in a lot of ways because it's Pokemon and that's what they do. And they I love when they make games like this that are sort of more specifically interacting with Pokemon and not just catching them and using them for battle. So I am pretty excited. We'll see. But I really like the Cherry Blossom map. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
I do think this kind of like feeds into like the desire to be kind of a Pokemon researcher or a Pokemon professor instead of not necessarily a Pokemon trainer. Because like I that was kind of my thing when I was a kid. Like I always wanted to be a Pokemon professor instead of a Pokemon trainer. I just wanted to learn more about them. So I think this really like kind of feeds into that sort of desire, and I really enjoy that, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. Well, one thing that people were looking forward to was Cyberpunk 2077, and as we all know, it turned into something that needed to be apologized for. So guess what? The Cyberpunk 2077 devs apologized. So we have a little excerpt from Tom's guide. So Cyberpunk 2077 is for some a buggy mess and for others completely unplayable. Developer CD Projekt Red has already promised fixes and a next-gen console upgrade, but has now revealed exactly when we should expect them to arrive. So CD Projekt Red co-founder Marcin Winsky, send help, has released a video outlining what fans can expect from Cyberpunk 2077 over the course of 2021, as well as apologizing for the poor performance on PS4 and Xbox One consoles. Multiple patches, both big and small, are in the works, with the first landing in just 10 days' time. A larger and more significant update will follow shortly after. These fixes also mean delays to CD Projekt Red's original plan for free DLC. For PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X players, the update is coming in the second half of the year. That said, data miners have uncovered some multiplayer code showcasing at least 2 different game modes, Heist and Deathmatch, plus the possibility of P2P connections rather than routing everything through a dedicated multiplayer server. Y'all. So first things first, what did y'all think about the apology? Did y'all watch the apology video? What were some of your general thoughts when you saw that? Because my original thoughts were, they're just now apologizing. That was my thing. I was like, wait, it took them how long to apologize? And I didn't watch the video. However, I've seen a lot of reports on it, and the main takeaway from it was that they basically apologized, and they were like, oh, you know, we worked really hard, and please don't blame any of the developers, but also the QA team didn't see any of the issues. And I was like, that's, you don't do that. You don't just like be like, oh, you know, it's everybody's fault, but also nobody's fault, but also it's definitely QA team's fault. And I was like, oh, no.
And like, you know, they were like hounding down on the QA team probably during the whole time. They're like, so when are you gonna be done with this? Can you pick it up? Like, can we go? 'Cause
Right.
we're not gonna pay you if you don't hurry it up. And they're like, well, there's all these bugs, but like, I guess like go ahead.
Right, and they were probably like, okay, so which bugs are the bigger ones that we can work on realistically? And they were like, well, I guess you can work on these ones, and the other ones I guess will be fine. And they're like, sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, it was just messy.
I'm sorry. I poopy in my diaper. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry you pay $60 for my game. And it plays worse than Minecraft. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my god. Okay.
Ooh.
So I did actually watch the video, and it just kind of came across as like very definitely like blame shifty, definitely like weirdly almost like an advertisement for the PC version, because like
Of course.
It just kept reiterating like, oh, it runs great on PC. We wanted to create this game as a great experience for PC.
Right.
This is how it is on PC.
We gotta.
Yeah. People aren't experiencing as many issues on PC. Like it almost did feel like kind of an advertisement for the PC version, and kind of like a.
Right.
Like if you didn't like it on console, maybe get the PC version.
Yeah.
Buy it again.
Have you considered purchasing the game again on a different console? And I've listened to a podcast in which one person got the game. So CD Projekt Red sent them one copy for one platform, and they were like, ooh, this is not great. So they purchased two different copies, one on Stadia and one on a different platform, and they said the three of them were not great. So it's like, okay, like, are you just gonna expect people to just continue to purchase your game on different platforms? And then it's like, there was such a big thing about this game, and now it's like the current gen is basically coming out a year after the last gen stuff. So it's like, by the way, if you for some godforsaken reason still have your pre-order up for any of the current gen stuff, what are you doing? If you're still waiting for your PS5 pre-order and your Xbox Series X pre-order, what are you doing? Just get out while you can, because you know they're just gonna be like, oh, here's the refunds again.
Mm-hmm.
Another takeaway that I saw from it was they said that they're not gonna implement crunch this time around, and people were like, "That's literally what you said."
That's lies.
They're like, "That's literally what you said about this game, and guess what you did."
Crunch them to death and
God.
dust.
Not that. Hopefully, no one died while making this game.
I would
Captain
hope not.
Crunch.
Well,
Would have been cool if you didn't do that the first time.
right?
But
They did.
Like you said, you wouldn't.
Yeah. I mean, I watched the video, and there's certain parts that I can understand, but it's like at the end of the day, you all knew it was going to come out this way, and you release it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, you can say, like, I get the whole how it was built for PC and how that works, and I will continue to say forever that putting it on last gen consoles was a huge mistake with everything that they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Huge mistake. But you release it anyway, so it's you can't really then say the QA team didn't see it or something like that. I'm like, if you turn the game on and played it for 10 minutes, you probably have come across some problems, unless it was just all cutscenes. But even then, they could see it because they're walking through cars, walking through elevators, getting stuck. So it's like, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, you might have been a little bit better off just not making the video. I mean, to be completely honest, they kind of really didn't even need to. I mean, it's not, kind of nice that they did, but it was well past the point where it's like, okay, just fix it for the people who are, playing the game. But it's like, you gotta take responsibility for what you've done. And then the roadmap, it was already a known roadmap. It just really felt like they just should have delayed it, and there's nothing to me that would excuse them releasing it now. You've already said that there was no pressure to do it, but you did it.
Right.
Why did you? I don't know. It's like you can't release it in a state like that and then be like, "I'm sorry." It's like it's a difference between something that just is accidental and that you didn't mean to happen, which they claim they didn't. But I can't believe that. It's like you knew it, so it was on purpose.
Yeah.
Don't make an apology video and then lie to me. Like it just felt like it was a real BS apology video to me. There's certain parts, like I said, that I can understand with the pandemic and PC over the console, but everything else just really felt like a bunch of lies and BS. And no.
Yeah, and I feel like you can't also make all these promises and then break all these promises and then promise new things. It's like, okay, but like you didn't follow through with what you said. And literally not that long ago, they posted that thing about like, oh, early January, February, we're going to have like all these updates ready. And then like January comes and they're like, guess what's not happening. So, it's like they keep making these statements and not really following through with them. And it's like, it concerns me, the people that are kind of falling into it, and they're like, oh, they apologize, they're holding themselves accountable, oh my god, I can't wait for the new update so I can play it and see if it's better. I'm like, how many times is someone gonna stab you in the neck until you're like, you know what, I need to go to the hospital? Like, right. How many times are you gonna allow yourself to be like stabbed and betrayed by this one company? I promise you, there's so many games out there that you can play that run way better. There's even like plenty of indie games that tackle the cyberpunk aesthetic in ways that are not broken or transphobic or anything of the sort. So there's just so many options out there. Why be so hung up on this one game?
Like if people like it and want to play it, fine, whatever. But don't try to make it seem like people are overreacting to the issues here.
Yeah,
like not everybody wants to play. I can admit, like some people like to play games that are a little bit buggy. I mean, there's Skyrim players, for God's sakes. So that lets you know right there. Ooh. Some people just find some of it to be funny to come across, as long as they're not like game breaking. But not everybody wants to play a broken mess. Not everyone wants to play something that's frame rate is all over the place. Not everyone wants to play a game that's constantly crashing. Not everyone is like that. So,
yeah.
You can't, defend them and act like, that the issues and people being upset is unwarranted. I mean, if you want to play it and you're fine with that, that's cool. Because I know plenty of people, especially on PC, that are like completely okay with it. And also, and again, I do say, please stop with the whole, well, this is what happens when you complain about games getting delayed. Like, don't switch that over to the customer, please. Like, these companies don't care about you like that. And I don't know what happened with these people, CD Projekt Red, because their whole reputation just went completely down the toilet. Like, it went from them being people, company that people trusted with their games. I mean, it didn't always come out perfect, but not like this. And now it's just, now you got to rebuild all that. But it's like you've kind of just shown like you're like the other companies as well. You'll release a broken product, then be like, we're sorry, here's our roadmap.
Yeah.
And then that's it.
Yeah. And it's like,
Oh,
sorry. They actually like released this whole like roadmap that was fixes that are coming out over like the entire course of this year. And if it was that like truly not ready, like just release it at the end of 2021.
Literally.
Like they released it like a year early because the fixes are going throughout the entire year. This game, they released this game that will not be playable for an entire year. And that's just mind-blowing to me,
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Shalora?
I just did like a quick little research,
Yes.
And the owner of CD Projekt, or whatever it's called, makes 1,050 times the amount that the developers make, the game programmers make in a year, which is way too much. Y'all need to rebalance this. Like, what are the owners even doing? They make some choices. They sign a couple papers. They, then they distribute it to everybody else. They give the work to everybody else. They make a couple choices here and there. Are I don't know. Are they really in those rooms helping them program, or doing the art, or writing the stories, or whatever? Or are they just saying yes and no? To be making 1,000 times more than the game devs who are actually doing all of the work. So I think that, especially like in a company that only has 1,000 employees, according to this, like that's not a lot, and that's not 1,000 program or software developers, So they need to they definitely can't afford to hire more developers. First of all, can't afford to pay them more. One person does not need to be making that much based on everything else.
Especially if they're going to be so shitty at project managing. Because like,
I just think there's no excuse.
Yeah, because that's bottom line. The thing is, like, I would have not accepted the apology because I didn't purchase the game. I didn't pre-order the game. They're not apologizing to me. And they're certainly not apologizing to me because they didn't do anything to remove the transphobia from the game. So, other than that, I do think it would have been more of an acceptable apology if they were like, we fucked up as far as like the head ups of the company, the higher ups of this company fucked up. We didn't manage this project properly, and we should have given our employees more time to work on this game. And I just feel like 2020 was the easiest year for them to be like, hey, there's a pandemic, the game is not coming out this year. Like, literally every person would have been like, yeah, there's a pandemic, I understand. Like, if there's any year where anyone could have delayed their game and everyone would have understood, it would have been 2020. Yeah. So for them to not do that, and then to like have these meetings and have these things and be like, and lie to the investors and lie to all these people and be like, hey, here's how the game runs on PS4, and they show footage from PC, that's shitty.
They definitely could have waited. Like, I mean, and the thing is, the game still, in terms of sales, did very well.
Yeah.
Because people were really waiting. People were like buying the collector's editions and everything. You could have waited a year or however long it took. I mean, you literally advertise it, you release it when it's ready. But you didn't do that. So you lied again.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Cyberpunk. Yeah. I'm just ready to not talk about them anymore.
I know. We always have to take like a week or two in between the times when we talk about Cyberpunk.
Right? Jesus.
Because things keep happening.
We don't talk about it every episode.
Hashtag content.
Like, right. We tried not to. Like, that was one of the first things I saw, and I'm like, I'm probably going to try to not put that as something we're talking about to see if we can avoid it. But they just something keeps happening like almost every week or so.
Every week, it's something new with them. Like,
Coco, what can we do to combat this?
Well, one thing we can do to combat this, we can talk about first Mortal Kombat movie photos featuring Sub-Zero, Jax, Sonya, and Liu Kang. All right, so we have an article from Polygon written by Michael McWhorter. I'm sorry.
Some guy. He wrote other stuff already.
I'm sorry. So we have years in the making. The Mortal Kombat reboot is almost here. Warner Brothers revealed the first images of director Simon McQuaid's upcoming film, which is slated to hit movie theaters and HBO Max in April. Please just watch the HBO Max version. Do not go to theaters right now, please.
Be safe.
Characters such as Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Liu Kang, Kung Lao, Jax, Sonya, and Kano, and newcomer Cole Young, not Cole Young with a K. And so Cole is a mixed martial arts fighter, according to Warner Brothers Studios, who bears the mysterious birthmark in the shape of the Mortal Kombat Dragon logo. Cole is the target of Sub-Zero sent by Shang Tsung to remove MMA fighters' spinal column, but the reason as why is unclear. So I can already tell they're going with a different kind of story here. Expect violent R-rated action and fatalities in the film and come around April 16th.
Ooh, that's soon.
That's pretty close, like 3 months.
Yeah.
We're just getting teasers now.
Yeah. I'm in the middle. I mean, we'll see how it goes. When I just read that part about like what's happening, I'm like, I can already tell they're kind of like off on the story a little bit. Since I know originally Sub-Zero in no way worked for Shang Tsung in any way, shape, or form. In fact, originally he was sent to the tournament to assassinate him. But I can't expect them to follow the main plot as well, because in the first movie, they were a little bit off, but that movie was good. We're not going to talk about, what was that one, the second one? Annihilation? Movie was kind of bad. But, I mean, we'll see what happens. I'll give it a watch. I mean, it's pretty easy to, get Mortal Kombat right, in my opinion. So we'll see how that goes, but I'll give it a shot. How about yourself, Ruby? Have you watched any of the Mortal Kombat movies?
Okay, I don't remember which one or if I watched both, but I certainly watched it because my brother was huge into Mortal Kombat. Even though my mom hated it, she was like, it's disgusting. But he played it a lot, and I was terrible. I was always terrible at Mortal Kombat. I could never do the fatalities or anything. The only thing I could do is like those levels that had like a platform and you just like did a little punch situation, and then the character flew into like the lower platform and they just fell into the spikes or whatever. That was the only thing I could do. Like I couldn't do any fatalities. I was terrible at it. But I remember vaguely like enjoying the movie. I had no idea what the hell was going on, but I remember vaguely enjoying it. And I think there's potential for them to get it right, because like when it comes to like an action movie like this, I feel like nobody is necessarily expecting cinematic perfection. So I do think that there's potential for it to just be like a fun movie that you can enjoy, and it's like, yeah, this is pretty cool. I'm not really thinking too much about like if it's gonna be super close to the storyline of the games, because I don't really know the canon that well. But I'm definitely I'm looking forward to it. I do think that there is potential for it to be good, and I would love for video game movies to start getting a reputation of like being good. Even though Monster Hunter kind of didn't help, but yeah,
we're almost there.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see in April. If there's no delays, we'll see the movie, and well, I don't know if I'll see it, but someone will, people will. And yeah, and maybe if I find interest in it, maybe I'll watch, and we'll see. But yeah, are y'all interested? Are y'all excited? What's the situation, Chalora?
I think I've seen like part of a Mortal Kombat movie, and it was not good. From what I've heard, like part of the charm of Mortal Kombat, either in movies or in games, is like cheese.
Mm-hmm.
That it's just like cheesy and like almost funny in a way. Like I've watched a couple videos like where they like have like the cutscenes and stuff, and it's like just sort of funny. Like it makes almost no sense sometimes. At least from my opinion. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll I mean, just from reading going over there, and then we're up here, and we're up there, and we're down there, and then we're over here, and then we're over there. And it was like, oh, okay. That's a story and a half. And I mean, from the looks of it also, like the article said that the other films were PG-13. So this one being R-rated might give it that extra edge that I think it might have needed. They can really go whole ham on this one.
Not just half ham.
not just half a ham. I want the
Full
whole ham.
ham. The entire ham.
Yeah, full ham hocks. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this. Because I did watch the original movies like when I was a kid, and they were just like cheesy and good, and I loved them. And I feel like there's a few different directions they could go with this. Like either way, even if it's like kind of like cheesy and so bad it's good again, that'll be great.
That's Mortal Kombat as well. Like it was very
Yeah,
cheesy at its
exactly.
core.
Yeah.
Exactly. But also I'm excited for the potential of like, because I love action movies, and I love, one thing I really love is like good fight choreography and fight cinematography. So if they do stuff like that, I will be so excited about that. And I'm definitely gonna give it a shot. I'm definitely gonna be watching on HBO Max instead of going to a theater in April.
Right. I'm tired of movies premiering on HBO Max, by the way, because we don't have that over here. So it's like, how am I supposed to watch this?
Right.
Legally. I'm sure there's
Oh.
ways. But legally,
Oh.
how am I supporting this, you know?
That is kind of unfair.
Yeah. I hate it here.
But yeah, this is what I'm excited about, and I probably will watch this one.
Yeah. Well, we could move on now to what we're playing with Just Gaming Tingz. Just Playing Tingz. I fucked up our own name. Damn. Just Gaming Tingz is the name of the podcast and the channel. Just Playing Tingz is the name of the segment in which we talk about what we're playing and the things that we're doing. I'll start because I have some things, okay? So last week I teased the listeners and the watchers that I was gonna start 2 new games. So guess what I did? I started 2 new games. So I played Among Us for the first time. It was so chaotic. I was so nervous. I played it for like 3 hours. Didn't get to be the imposter. I'm still a little bitter about that. But it was super fun. I played Majora's Mask, The Legend of Zelda, for the first time. It's so cursed, so confusing, so overwhelming, but I'm loving it. I'm having a great time with it. So more on that as I get into it. I'll just, I'll delve into it. But first impressions, I played for like 3 hours. I'm really enjoying it. Alternatively, I played a GBA game for the Kim Possible series called Revenge of Monkey Fist, and it was a journey. It's like I played it for again 3 hours, and the final boss was, I could not beat it, but the game was basically like a very safe and very bland platformer, and you can like kick people and punch people, and there's little power-ups, little items that you can use along the way, but nothing revolutionary. They basically compressed certain moments from the show. Sometimes that didn't make any sense with the level you were in, just to have something as like a quote-unquote cutscene at the end of the level. But yeah, it's basically like a simple story of like, someone kidnapped Ron. I wonder who that was. And then at the end, it's like, oh, it's the bad guy from the show, which is not surprising at all. And yeah, it's just not great. It's not great. If you, I could see me enjoying and living for this game if I was like a teenager or a kid and Kim Possible was out, and I loved the show. So, and if I had a Game Boy Advance and I had the game, I feel like I would live for it. As a kid, as an adult, I was like, yeah, that was an okay experience. And as a little update to my Genshin experience, I dropped it fully. Like, I haven't touched that game in so long.
How dare you?
I know, like the new update just was so repetitive, and so grindy. I haven't uninstalled yet, so I may come back to it eventually. But I just slowly but surely stepped away from it and didn't really feel a need to go back to it. Which
The
makes me
new
kind
update
of
with the mountain?
yeah, it was like the mountain, and you had like the 3 different challenges that was basically like the same thing over and over again. Uh,
What?
it was like
What
Act
challenge?
1, you had to like upgrade your a weapon, and then Act 2 and 3 was like you had to collect these like particular stones that you can use for like in a particular item shop, and it wasn't my fave. It really wasn't my fave. It was so memorable that, you know. But yeah, enough about me and what I'm playing. What about you, Chalora? What have you been up to?
It's a long
Other
time.
Mm-hmm.
other than Genshin, I've been playing some more Story of Seasons, which is cute and all. I played some Peggle just because it's dumb and monotonous. I played some Hades, and it's been excellent. It's been exquisite.
Ooh.
My husband bought it for Christmas, and because I was like trying to stay away from my computer, I was just like on the couch. So I ended up playing it too, and it's great. I love it. It's really well done, and like he's still playing it every day. Still new stuff for him to find, to do. So they did an amazing job with that game. I don't know how that wasn't Game of the Year, but
Some people did name it Game of the Year, but it was very disappointing, and we could go on and on about how The Last of Us 2 was kind of overhyped or over, you know,
yeah.
praised, if you will.
Um,
Did you get out of
Other than-
Hades though? Were you able to make it out?
I didn't get past the end, but I did get to the surface, if that makes sense. So I mean, I haven't been playing too much. I may be like around my 20th run,
Ooh.
but I end up like experimenting too much and then making a fool of myself and dying. But I like to try different stuff and different combos and whatever. It's really fun. But yeah, what have you been up to, Koga?
I haven't played a lot new. I did like a run through Star Fox 64. I think it was like last Sunday. I haven't played Star Fox 64 since they released the 3D version on the 3DS. So I was wondering, like, would I be able to go through the correct path? And yeah, I actually just went through it just fine. I mean, I got stuck on a boss. Like, I didn't like die. It was just like, okay, what am I supposed to be shooting? What am I supposed to be doing?
Oh no.
Peppy isn't helping me as much as I would desire. And I don't know, I always find it strange how they're always asking me to help. But when there's someone behind me, they tell you to like do a somersault, hit the brakes. They don't do that. So I got to fly across the map to help them out so that they can do the things I need them to do. Like, you know, like Slippy, he brings up the enemy gauge, their life when he's around. Peppy gives you advice, and Falco finds, I guess, alternative paths. It was a lot of fun to play. The game has like multiple ways that you can go, but there's usually like the advanced way so you can get like the actual ending. And I'm surprised I made it through there no problem. But I mean, I did play it a lot when it came out back in '97 with the Rumble Pack. So that might be why. I did also play a little bit of Street Fighter 3 Third Strike over on Fightcade, because like I think it was like Sunday night. There was like this event in Japan, and watching people play this game who are really good is like, it's one of the best things for me to watch. So I decided to play a few online matches that went okay. I didn't completely lose all the time, but it got some in there. But it was pretty fun. It's one of my favorite fighting games of all time. Like, it's fun to play, it's fun to watch just because of how fluid the animations were at the time, and then it's still one of the best soundtracks in gaming to me to this day.
No.
Yeah. You been playing anything, Spin?
I haven't really been playing much new, but I do have a sad story to report.
Oh no.
I think all of the shiny hunting that I've done has finally taken a toll on my poor blue Joy-Con here.
Oh no.
we lay this boy to rest. I might have to get a pro controller because like it's not drifting, but I noticed this last night when I was doing a shiny hunting stream. It's like it's weirdly delayed. Like when I'm riding around on my bike, it's weirdly like it takes a lot longer to do turns. It takes a lot longer to like recognize what I'm doing. So
That's
I'm
weird.
thinking his time might have come. We'll send him up to Joy-Con heaven.
Joy-Con heaven's pretty full.
It's
Yeah.
pretty stacked, I would say.
Right. I might end up having to get like a pro controller or something.
You could
'cause,
try
like,
updating it, because that's a thing that I found out about recently, that you can update the Joy-Cons. But
I'll try that.
one of my Joy-Cons is also breaking. The A button of all buttons is breaking on me, so I'm like, great.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm hopeful that he might make a full recovery, but I'm not optimistic. I'm scared.
This is a very sad development.
A very sad story.
Oh.
My poor little blue son here.
Well.
But yeah, other than that, I've just been like playing Pokemon, continuing Final Fantasy 13 when I can. I'm really excited to get back into that soon, but not really much too. I've also completely dropped Genshin.
Yeah.
Played it in like a month or so.
Oh.
And at this point, I'm like, oh, do I want to get back into it? Oh, I don't know.
Oh. Yeah.
But that's basically what I've been up to.
Yeah. Amazing games, everybody up to some great things. If you're watching us live, we do like the idea of answering y'all's questions about like random gaming related things. So if you do want to ask us any questions, you can come over every Saturday on twitch.tv/Just Gaming Tingz. We do have a question from one of our viewers, Dextralicious, viewer and friend. And he asked, if y'all wanted any video game to be made into a good game, what would it be? So basically, like, if a game that could get like a remake or even just like a patch. Like a game that you want to like it, but it's not great. But it could get like patched to be better or re-released to be better. Is there such a game? Oh, Koga has one. Perfect.
No, it's a video game to be made into a good movie.
I can't read. I can't read.
I do have an answer for that too, though. Can we get a good Street Fighter live action movie? Because we've had two bad ones. Like, okay, so the first one was so bad that it was good because it was kind of like, it was just kind of funny. But the second one, like, I don't get how it was Street Fighter Legend of Chun-Li, and the main villain is Bison. This dude is fighting people with like got in a fight and he like is using a pike. That's how bad it is. Why is Bison, of all people, using a pipe to fight? He can literally just blow stuff up. So we've never gotten a really good live-action Street Fighter movie. I would like to get one. I mean, it's not that difficult. Like, just go off of one of the animated movies that we had. Please?
Yeah. I think it would be great, and hear me out here, for a Final Fantasy movie. I don't know what it would be. I don't know what movie it would be. I don't know what game I would want them to pull from. I do think it would be interesting, and I do think it's weird how like there is one Final Fantasy movie, like live action, of course, and it's like nothing to do with. I guess it's not live action. I think it's like CGI. So it
was CG.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
There's two of them.
Yeah. There's the Final Fantasy 7. Oh, there's 3.
Yeah. So there was for 15. There was a was it King's Claw?
Oh,
it was that.
Oh, I forgot about that. Maybe for the best.
I mean, Spirit Within or Beyond or whatever the fuck it was, it's awful. So
Yeah, that we were all
So
kinda
a
not
good
that
Final
great.
Fantasy movie. I don't know if like there's a lot of things we could pull from. We could do a Dissidia-esque moment where it's like the Avengers of Final Fantasy basically, and they fight all the bad guys from Final Fantasy, and all the bad girls. Alternatively, they could take one of the like they could do Final Fantasy 1. If they don't want to remake it into a movie, into a video game, they could take some liberties and make it into a movie. And I think it could be really cool. They could go for a medieval, high fantasy kind of vibe, because it's a very like I feel like it could turn into like a Lord of the Rings-esque situation with like the exploration element of it and their journeys to find the crystals and do all of that stuff. So I think it could be really cool if they did Final Fantasy 1 as a movie, because you could take a lot of liberties with it, right? Because there's not really there's like I don't know, there's some notes that you could hit from the video game, but there's not like a super strict story that they would have to follow through, and like fans would be disappointed if they missed out on any particular things, right? So that's mine. A good Final Fantasy movie, live action, could be really cool if they did Final Fantasy 1. I'm not picky. I will watch anything as long as it's good. That's all.
well, it's a tough criteria for them.
Oh.
Oh, God.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I mean, I guess they wouldn't be the ones making it. I would hope that Square Enix wouldn't be involved in the movie making of it all. They would be like, here's the licensing rights to a good person that can make a good movie.
right.
And just trust them on it, right? That would be really
Would
cool.
it be live action?
They could do live action. I feel like for Final Fantasy 1, if they were to go with that, I feel like there's not a lot of like wild hairstyles that could go very wrong if they did live action. Because if they did 7, you know for a fact whoever plays Cloud is fucked. Because they're going to drag him to hell and back, and they're going to have the worst fucking wig. So just do Final Fantasy 1. They could keep it pretty simple. And it could be good. But yeah, do y'all have any?
I was kind of thinking about like all the games I've played and what I think would lend itself to being a good movie, and I thought about Catherine. There's like different directions that they could go with Catherine. So like even people who've played the game wouldn't necessarily know how the movie would end, which I think is a cool concept.
Yeah.
Because there's multiple different endings for Catherine and multiple different paths. But I think that's something that would make a cool movie. Like, definitely, I'm sensing like definitely a drama with some like supernatural elements in the work. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. What do you think, Shalora? What were you thinking?
Took me a while to think of something, but the best I could think of was League of Legends. I know like everybody hates the game and the community for it, but the lore for it is pretty damn good. So I've seen so many of their short cinematics, and they're always like really excellent, like well detailed and like story driven, and like it's pretty deep in lore, and they're pretty well animated too. So I think if they could just, rather than make a bunch of little short things, make one film, I think that would be really cool.
Would you want it to be like animated, CGI? Yeah.
But I had also thought of not a movie, but if they took Hades and made it into like a sitcom that like was like episodic, so like at the end of every episode he dies.
Oh, that would be cool.
So I think that would be really funny.
I love that. I want that now. That would be so good.
And it would be very H-word. So,
well, because like I'm sure he's struggling, fighting through Tartarus and then Elysium, and all these different levels of hell, and at the end of every episode, he gets like maybe he's talking to somebody, and he just gets stabbed, and it's like, oh well, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I
There's a
love
lot of ways
that.
that you could just die, or maybe he reaches the surface.
I think
Who
it could be
knows?
cool, like especially those types of shows that have like a monster of the week kind of plot to it. I feel like you could easily do that with Hades. Like each episode
Yeah,
is like a different person that he's facing and on his journey to get out, and you're like, which direction are they going with? Is he gonna be able to make it? Is he not? And like if he doesn't make it, there's potential for season two, and then you could always go from there. I think that would be really cool.
I mean, the plot itself is long enough. Like, I'm not going to give spoilers or anything, but there's definitely like a lot of like post victory, I guess I'll say. Um, and I feel like with the amount of gods that you kind of like team up with, although they can't like reach you physically to help you, they do send you like gifts or whatever, like their spirit force or whatever it is. Um, gives a lot of potential for like this time he's using this weapon, and he can kind of give you backstory on the weapon or whatever. I don't know. Like there's a lot of plot opportunity, I think.
Yeah.
Because like maybe this time Artemis is helping him, and then you know what I mean. Like he can talk to Artemis or whatever throughout that quote unquote run, um, or whatever it is.
That would be really cool.
I really like that idea.
Make it an anime. Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That would be amazing. Please. Please.
I want that
Netflix will
now.
pick up anything. So
I listen. Another good Pokemon movie would be awesome because like
Yes.
they are on a good streak with like Detective Pikachu. So if they can think of something creative, or if they can think of a good spin, like what if they did a Pokemon Snap kind of situation where it's
I
like,
was just gonna say.
the story is about like a Pokemon researcher, and it's not really about a trainer, it's not really about winning, it's not really about gyms and all that stuff. It's just like someone like I think it could also be like a comedy type of situation. Like what if you're a goofy like researcher, and you're like a newbie, and you're just like flopping everywhere, and you get yourself into trouble accidentally, and I think that could be really cool for a Pokemon movie. So I don't know.
I like that idea.
I'm hoping that the new Sonic movie is good as well, like the sequel to it. Reportedly, Tails and Knuckles are joining, so hopefully that's good. I still haven't watched the first one. There's so many good things about it, but I haven't gotten to it yet. But yeah. But thank you for the question. Thank you everybody for listening and watching. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. You can find us as Just Gaming Tingz everywhere. And where can people find each of us individually? We can start with Spin and go up the line this time, if you will.
Sounds good. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at SpinBlend, and you can find me there. I'll be shiny hunting, playing Final Fantasy 13, goofing around on my cowboy island in Animal Crossing.
Yes.
And I also make soap and sell soap on Etsy and Instagram. You can find me at Spin Soap Cafe. That's about all I got going on right now. What about you, Ruby?
Yes. You can find everything that is relevant to me at projectruby.eu. There's links for all of my socials. You can see my latest video on there. You can see a link to my podcast, Breakfast at Ruby's, which we have a new episode coming on the 24th of January, featuring Dr. Grizzly, a mental health professional. So we're going to be talking about mental health and the pandemic and being a content creator and all that stuff. So it should be a really cool and interesting conversation. So if you're a content creator out there, that I think that would be really insightful for all of us, myself included. I'm also playing right now. My current rotation is Final Fantasy VII Remake on Mondays. On Tuesdays, I'm playing. Not Tuesdays. Wednesdays, I'm playing The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask. And on Fridays, I'm actually starting a new playthrough because Kim Possible was a one stream kind of thing. And my community is dropping hints that I might play Tomb Raider 3 because that was currently winning the poll. I'll find out on Monday what game I'm playing next, and y'all will definitely know about my experiences next week on this podcast. So that's all for me. What about you, Koga?
You can find me here and on Twitter at Koga_Jangles. I do need to continue Yakuza Kiwami 2 because the other ones are about to come out. I haven't decided if I'm gonna. Well, I'm not good at Beat Mania yet, so I'm not really gonna start that soon. But I did find out like how the community is able to stream that. Because I talked about that last week. I'm like, how do y'all get away with this? And apparently, like all the music is like in house for Konami, so it's not like there's some kind of third party licensing or anything like that. So
That's
maybe
good.
if when I get decent enough, maybe because I know that if you're not good enough, some people may not want to watch. Understandably, because it's about listening. It's about listening to like the music, and if you're not doing it right or you're failing, it's like that. I know at least that was my experience when I started off playing Hatsune Miku, though I can play that on hard now. Yes. But that's what I've planned. But I definitely want to continue Yakuza Kiwami 2 because I'm gonna go through 3, 4, 5, and then 6 comes out to PC like in March, like end of March. So definitely want to go through all of those and not rush through them too much. Because want to do some of the side stuff, but not be like 100 hours in and all right, we're still doing stuff.
Oh no!
Because you can get in these games, you can end up playing them for like quite a while.
Yeah.
Right. How about you, Chalora?
I am currently doing still a playthrough of Paper Mario and the Origami King. I just came back from break, so I'm just sort of getting back into the groove. But after that, I plan to be playing some Chibi Robo from the OG GameCube, which I'm really excited to do over on my channel at Twitch, twitch.tv/Chalora. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chalora as well. And if I'm not streaming, I'm always working on in the background on something big. Honk honk. So
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
We love that. So thank you everybody for joining us this week. We will be back next week at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and later on the day on YouTube and all of your favorite podcast services. Stay safe and have a good one, y'all. Thank you. Bye.